Welcome to Real Love, Real Stories TV and podcast. This is Kanu and I'm the host. Thank you for joining me as I learn about love from couples who are making their relationships work and from singles who make being single fun. And the guest chair today is a guy who is a storyteller, a wine steward, a former Green Beret, and an author. He has written books that you can find on Amazon, one of them called Cards Are Cards, but History is Forever, and another where he talks about his near-death experiences. It's called For the Love of God, Why Am I Still Alive? Enjoy his love story. Welcome, JJ, to this episode. I'm so excited that you're here. So you want to start by introducing yourself to my audience?
Well, my name is Jean-Jean Robert Joseph Pelletier. I'm French-Canadian from Madawaska, Maine. And all my family's from Quebec and Saint John. Mm-hmm. And I moved here thanks to my parents when I was 13 years old.
Okay.
To California. Mm-hmm. I had an older sister. I'm the baby of 8. And I have an older sister who went to college in Boston.
You're a baby of 8?
8.
I'm
yes.
the baby of 7.
That's great. And my dad, I believe he spent $3,500 for her college education.
Okay.
And he could not be able to do that to all of us.
Okay.
But he heard that if you move to California and you lived in California, you can go to college tuition free.
Oh, really? So
he sold the farm and sold the business. And right in the middle of summer, 7 of us loaded up in a 1952 Buick Skylark, and we went cross country. Took us 7 days. Slept in the car most of the time.
Yeah.
And one of my sisters wrote a book about that.
Okay.
And we ended up in California. And would you believe, in Orange County?
Okay.
And you believe that all of us got our degrees? We all went to college.
Wow. And was it free?
Yeah, the tuition was free. All you had to do is buy your books.
Wow.
And so he accomplished a dream and something that he wanted all of us to have, because when you live in I don't want to say backwoods, but when you live way back there, they're farmers and they're hunters and they're fishermen and stuff. And usually you take the trade of your father, your grandfather,
right.
and you stay there. Mm-hmm. And he wanted something different for us.
Yeah.
So I really respected him for what he did at the time. But while I went going to college, well, first of all, in high school, I made a name for myself because I didn't speak English that good. Okay. And a lot of people would come up to me and ask me in French how to say a certain phrase or so. Okay. And so I started charging $0.25. And it would pay for my lunch. And next thing you know, people were calling me Frenchie. And then before my senior year, all my friends says they were trying out for cheerleaders. And they thought I was a pretty funny character. And they says, "Why don't you try to be a cheerleader?" I said, "Are you kidding me?" But I was very agile. Yeah. On my feet, I was doing flips and somersaults all the time every time I get excited. So in the auditorium and everything else, I think they must have had 12 pairs. And they were all paired up. Some had 4, some had 3, something like that. I was the last one by myself. Wow. And it was an hour-and-a-half auditorium in front of 2,400 students.
Oh, wow.
And I come running out. I'm the last one. And I come running out doing flips, roll, and then get in front of the microphone, do a back flip. And I started doing yells and stuff. And I think I shocked them. They didn't know what to do. So I said, "Let's try this one more time. And this time I'll slow down a little bit." Right. And I said, "I want you to get on your feet." And everybody got on their feet. I said, "I want you to move to your left, move to your left. I want you to move to the right, move to your right. I want you to go forward. And okay, now we're going to do this one more time, but this time it's going to be real quick. Like, everybody stand up, ready? All right. And I do the cheer. Well, the whole auditorium is going this way. the teachers are going nuts. Out of 2,400 and some students, I thought I made a fool of myself. It was a weekend thing. I come home on Monday, back to school on Monday, and the principal's looking for me. Mm-hmm. And he says, "Frenchie," he says, "we have 2,400 students in this class, and 2,398 voted for you. Wow. 2 people didn't vote for you." I said, I didn't vote for myself. And I said, "I'm sure I got an enemy out there." So Well, I was a cheerleader in high school, and so when I went to Fulton Junior College,
Yeah.
I also was a cheerleader there.
Mm.
And I was also got involved with the Air Force ROTC program. So I was in charge of the banners at the football games and the cannon. Every time we had a touchdown, I had this big cannon, and pow, and away we go.
Yeah.
Well, I was having so much fun that my grades, and I was going full boat. I had about 16 credits, and my grades weren't really that great. And one of the professors I had in psychology,
Yeah.
I was in my second year, and he came up with this program. He says, in back of the room, he had an IBM computer thing and these little cards that they had. And I don't know if you see them or not, but little punch cards.
Yeah.
You know, and he says, okay, I need 25 volunteer gentlemen, and I need 25 ladies.
Mm-hmm.
And not to be associated, anybody having a relationship or anything like that. You got to be single, and you got to have no girlfriend or boyfriend.
Okay.
And I says, no, that's me. I got a lot of girlfriends, but I'm not going steady with anybody. And so I signed up. Well, host. Come to find out, my honey, Nancy, did the same thing in the freshman class.
Okay.
And she was in the band.
Okay.
But all her girlfriends coaxed her to do it because she didn't have a boyfriend.
Okay.
So I got her phone number in my pocket, mind you. And it's Friday. I was going to call her. But we had to go to Bakersfield for that weekend.
Yeah.
Spend the night in Bakersfield for a football game.
Mm-hmm.
And unknowns to me at the time and to her, we were in the same bus.
Oh, wow.
And she had a boyfriend, I believe his name was Roger. And they were just holding hands, and they were just having a great time. And I kept rubbing him. I kept saying, hey, you guys, cool it. You're going to get everybody too excited. And I was always after him.
Yeah.
So we won the game, and that night we had to stay at that hotel. And I was walking from the cafeteria to my room, and I heard Al screaming, no, no, no. And the door's ajar. So I opened up the door, and there was two Husky football players.
Yeah.
And trying to disrobe her.
Oh, no.
So I interfered. I said, gentlemen, that's not very polite of you. Did that. I heard her say no, and I think you should abide.
You should listen, yeah.
They picked me up and threw me through the window.
Oh, man.
And I landed on the canopy of the hotel, bounced right off, back on my feet, and I ran up back there. And by that time, the noise and everything, and they broke that up. Well, the next day, I had to pay $22 for that window.
Oh, because
I wasn't going to point fingers. Those guys are 5 times bigger than I was.
Okay.
And the gal was okay. She didn't want to do it. Wanted to get, she was a pom-pom girl.
Yeah.
Cute little thing.
Okay.
And she didn't want to create any ruckus.
Right.
So
she didn't report it either.
So Nancy goes home, and I go home,
mm-hmm.
and I take a shower and everything else. She tells her parents about what a weekend it was, and what a wild weekend. And says, we had this guy, he got thrown out of the window. At the time, they didn't know the reason for it. And it wasn't until a week later that the gal came out and told her story and found out that I was the hero.
Oh, okay.
I didn't want to be the hero. I just didn't think it was right.
Right.
So she tells her mom, and this guy got thrown out of a window. Yeah. And he bounced right off and back on his feet, and he was ready to fight these guys. The phone rings. I introduced myself, and I said, I'm sorry I couldn't call you sooner.
This is to Nancy.
Yeah, I said, I'm your blind date for 3 dates.
Oh, okay.
And she says, I've been waiting for your call. And I said, sorry I didn't call you sooner, but I was in Bakersfield this weekend with the football team. And she said, you were?
She's like, I was there too.
She said, you were? And I said, yeah. What are you doing? I said, well, I'm the one in charge of the cannon and the flags for the ROTC program, and a cheerleader on the side. And she says, you're not the guy that got thrown out the window, are you? And I says, how do you know about that? And she says, I was there. I said, you got to be kidding me. And she says, no, I remember now. I remember you. I was Mrs. Rogers. And I'm going, she was the cutest little thing you've ever seen. I said, you got to be kidding me.
Oh, my goodness.
So we went out. I picked her up an hour later. Her mother was kind of hesitant to let her go.
Right.
I said, we're going to be back in 2 hours. We're just going to go for tea and pie.
Mm.
And we ended up spending about 5 hours. Got home at midnight.
Did you get in trouble?
Well, her mother is a school teacher, and she had her hair up and like this. She had her fingers in her hair, and she was like this. She was really worried. So I apologized and some of that. But we had so much in common.
Yeah.
Her mother was a twin. My mother was a twin. She's the second of a family of 7. I'm the baby of 8, but they spoke German at home, and we speak French at home, French Canadian.
Okay.
And I think the only 2 things we found we didn't have in common is that her family was Protestant. Mine was Catholic at the time.
Oh, okay.
And she likes slow dances, and she doesn't like fast dances. I like all dances.
Oh, okay.
But we worked around that,
Yeah.
But you know what the interesting thing was is that we kept making excuses about cutting class, going to the beach, doing this and that. But we did this for a whole year. I mean, Nancy had just started working for the phone company.
Mm-hmm.
And I was stocking shelves for Lucky's at night and going to school during the day.
So Lucky's is a grocery store. Was a grocery store?
Yeah,
okay.
Big grocery store.
Okay.
And they call it stalker. I was a stalker.
Okay.
And so I would spend my paycheck on her one Friday, get my paycheck for that weekend, and then she would get paid the following weekend. We spent her money. We went to Hollywood. We went to premieres. We did so much stuff that first year, and.
Just having a great time together.
I was having a great time. Yeah. And all of a sudden I woke up one morning and it was like somebody had hit me with a lightning bolt. I was in love.
Oh.
I mean, it just hit me.
Yeah.
I was in love.
Yeah.
And it scared me. I was only 19 years old, and I told myself I was going to travel the world before I settled down.
Right.
And if I settled down, I'll never be able to travel the world.
Yeah.
Scared me so much that when the lottery came out for the draft, it gave me an opportunity to say, I'm going to take a break. We're going to take a break and see if this is really what it is.
This is to be drafted.
A couple of us guys who used to play poker together got together and went to Hawaii. And I had a ball in Hawaii.
Yeah.
And she kept sending me cookies and perfumes and letters and stuff.
In Hawaii even?
In Hawaii.
Oh, wow.
And all my friends, when the mail would come, they would be like this, smelling them, before they hand them to me and everything else. And so then I would charge them $1 to put it under their pillow.
Seriously?
Kind of no, I would charge them a beer, actually. And then one day I come home. And Nancy joined me for a week. We got engaged, and we were going to get married in July in Hawaii.
Uh-huh.
Well, come June, I get this telegram, and been drafted. And I had 2 weeks to get back to Orange County to report to the draft board.
Oh, okay.
So I had to go back to Ala Moana Shopping Center and get my money back for the ring.
Yeah.
Which was a lot of money at the time. And I showed them my draft papers, and they charged 10%, but they gave me my money back so I could get money to fly back home.
Oh, gotcha.
So we delayed the wedding for a year until I didn't want to get married if I was going to go to Vietnam. Yeah. And everybody was going to Vietnam. So I says, if I get other orders, we'll get married next year. Mm-hmm. So I ended up going into service, and service to me was just like going back to being a Boy Scout. I was an Eagle Scout. Okay. And I just loved the hell out of it.
Really?
And I was the trooper of the month, and I was the honor graduate and everything else. And then I was ready. I was in AIT in Fort Leonard Wood, and I'm engineer school and learning demolition and how to blow up bridges and stuff. Uh-huh. And my whole squad, and myself included, got our orders for Vietnam.
Oh, okay.
So I was about to call Nancy to let her know we're not going to get married this next year. Yeah. Mm-hmm. We're going to wait till I get back. And I got tapped out on the shoulder by a guy who stood 6'2", weighed about 250. Uh-huh. And he had a Green Beret on him. He had the medals that could sink. If he fell in the pool, he would drown.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he'd been in for 20 years. Uh-huh. And he says, son, I want you to become a Green Beret. And I looked at him and I said, you got to be kidding. So
what does that mean to be a Green Beret?
It's a special operation operator. It's top of the top.
So
like being a SEAL.
This is before you even left, though.
No, I was in the military. I had orders to go to Vietnam.
Right. But you were already, okay.
And he says, here's what it entails. You have to go to airborne school. You have to go to Pathfinder school, a Ranger school, and then you go to Special Forces school. If you graduate all that, you'll become a buck sergeant right away. Usually it takes 5 years to be a sergeant in the Army.
Wow.
I'd be a sergeant within a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a fast
And
track.
yeah, but you got to be top of the top. And I said, why would you want someone like me? I only weigh 120 pounds wet. I mean, after all this training, and actually weigh 140. But he says, well, we need people like you for tunnel rats. And in Vietnam, we had a lot of exploration to do, usually
okay.
underground.
Yeah, yeah.
And they wanted somebody with specialty to be able to get in there and check it out.
Okay.
Well, that was his reason. I don't know what the other reason is. Well, the thing is, I enjoyed it so damn much that I did all those classes. I got the top of the class. Special Forces, I was the top of my class. Then they started sending me to survival school. And I loved it. I thought that was great. I went to Panama and I went to Alaska. And I had a great time.
Yeah.
And then I got orders for Germany. And that's when I called Nancy and I said, we're getting married.
Oh, because now you're not going to Vietnam.
And I'm going to Vietnam.
Okay.
So got orders for Germany. I said, as soon as I get settled in, I'll send for you.
Okay.
2 weeks into Germany, in Bavaria, in Baltos, with the 10th Special Forces Group, just as about to send for her, they sent me to Vietnam.
What? They changed their mind?
No. On an operation. I was on an operation of 18, a 12-man team.
Okay.
We went to Guam. You train for a couple of weeks and then you go in and do your special ops, do what has to be done, and you come back out.
Oh, I see.
And then you come back. And they have teams from all over the world that does that. We had a specialty. We did certain things. Other teams had different specialties. So when it required your specialty, you were called on.
Okay.
So anyway, about a month or two later goes by, and I finally get back to Germany, and I finally get her to come, and they give us a little chalet, and we just lived like, out of the 3 years, I think we saw each other 6 months.
Oh,
and Nancy learned how to, not only how to improve her German, but how to knit and crochet. And boy, she made all kinds of sweaters and all kinds of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But every time we got back after a mission, we'd have a 2-week furlough.
Okay.
Because we'd be gone for 2 or 3 months at a time.
Right.
So we'd have after debriefing, say, we'll see you in 2 weeks. Man, we head out. I bought a little car for $50 and a little Renault, unseen, unknown, and I bought it from a guy who needed to get rid of it to get back to the state. And we took that car to Paris. We took that car to Switzerland. We took that car to Austria. We went all over Europe.
You traveled all
over Europe.
Oh.
And, I mean, we were honeymooning. We had so much time. So, my time was up. Went back to the States and joined the reserves.
Okay.
And the reserves was on, at the time. And so Nancy went back, worked for the phone company, and we bought a little farm and tried for a whole year to start a family.
In California?
Yeah, in California.
Okay.
And nothing was happening.
Oh.
And at that time, I took the GI Bill and I went and got my pilot license, and I went to bartending school. I got my bartending certificate, and I worked night. We both worked nights. Nancy worked at a phone company nights, and I worked as a bartender. We closed at 1 o'clock. She got off at 2. We'd meet for breakfast, and we had a beautiful little place that had a bungalow and a little apartment, and we would have so much fun. We'd go to jacuzzi at night and everything else. And one day we couldn't have kids, So after we bought the little farm, had a big garden and everything, nothing was happening, and this is kind of frustrating.
Yeah.
And all my friends are gone, and I was starting to drink a lot, and being a bartender, and then my bar burned down on a Friday night, and wouldn't be back up for another 8 months or so. And I found myself for the first time in my life without a job. So I went looking.
Yeah.
And every time I thought I had the job, and I would show them my DD-14, which is my military papers and everything. Oh, you're a Vietnam vet. Okay, well, we'll call you. I never called. And so after 6 months of looking and not finding anything, I began, and not really getting frustrated and drinking too much. Nancy said, I've got to go to a unions meeting because she worked nights. But she said, today I got to go to a unions meeting.
Right.
And that's okay. So I went to the garden and everything, and around 10 o'clock in the morning, and I just sat there. There's no future for me.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to disappoint her and everything else. So I went back to my war chest and I got a gun out and I took it apart, polished it, and I loaded it. And I was about to, I had no friends. At that time, the military called it shell shock. Today it's called PTSD.
Oh, man.
And I was about a minute away from thinking about doing it.
Oh, my
And
gosh.
Nancy came home.
Mm-hmm.
And she's bouncing out of the car and she's come towards me and I hide the gun underneath the seat under the orange tree. And she hands me a present. And I open it up and it's a choo-choo train. And I said, what? She says, remember, you had told me a long time ago that if we ever had a child, you'd buy a little choo-choo train for the Christmas tree.
She was
pregnant.
pregnant. Oh, my God, JJ.
So I started crying like a baby.
Oh,
and
my
she thought
God.
I was crying all these years because I was so happy.
Yeah.
It wasn't until just 3 years ago when I wrote a book about my close calls with death
Oh, my God.
that I wrote about it that she found out about it. Talk about how mad she was.
Oh,
and
man.
how she knew I had a problem, but she didn't know I was that far off.
Yeah.
And to show you how it can happen to anybody. So it changed my life. I got a beautiful little baby girl named Lisa.
Oh, my God.
And 3 years later, I got a little boy named Jeffrey.
Yeah.
And I was a whole different person. And of course, and not more than a month after the announcement that she was pregnant, a friend of mine was in the wine business and he had come over for dinner and he offered me a job.
Oh.
And I went to work for Gallo Wine Company.
Yeah.
And I started working for the wine company and I spent 30 years in it. I was in the reserves 1 weekend a month and 2 months of summer. And I sold wine, beer, and liquor with different companies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
All this time, we had to move to Colorado Springs because Jeffrey was asthmatic.
Oh,
and
okay.
they said the best hospital, he was 2 years old. And we kept going back and forth to the hospital, back and forth with all these attacks, allergy attacks.
Mm-hmm.
And so we moved to Colorado Springs. And it took 6 months. He was a new kid.
He
never had
was
a problem ever
thriving, doing well there.
On that. So we stayed there. And while I was at the Air Force in Colorado Springs, Nancy worked for Mount Bell and for 6 years. And I was teaching at the Air Force Academy in the morning. And I opened up a new distributorship for wine, beer, and liquor for Colorado Springs and Woodland Park and Parker and Cripple Creek and all that area there. So we did that. And then Nancy came home one day and 6 years later, and she says, the Mount Bells are separating. They're splitting up and they're closing the shop.
Oh. Okay.
And they offered me Utah, Denver, or Phoenix.
Oh.
We know nobody in Utah, and we know what the winters are like in Denver.
Yeah.
And we had friends in Phoenix, military.
Yeah.
So we chose Phoenix.
And that's when
we showed up here in the middle of July, 120 degrees, and look at us. What the?
What year was this?
1987.
Okay.
And been here ever since.
So I wanted to pause for a moment and just, I mean, that was the fact that you had polished a gun, and that it just made my heart race a little bit. And knowing that PTSD is a real thing that people struggle with, but I've never actually talked to somebody who, like you've been in service and you obviously had PTSD at the time, and now. And I'm glad that you didn't go through with.
Well, it really serves its purpose in the sense that I'm very active with the veterans. Matter of fact, the Veterans Hospital here in Phoenix has helped me a lot in the last 12 years. I've had prostate cancer, and with the help of with them and the Mayo Clinic.
Okay.
I had 44 sessions of radiation, and it was advanced at 13 PSA when I went in, and I just had my blood work done 6 months ago, and I'm at 0.02.
Oh, wow.
So I'm blessed.
PSA is the test they do prostate cancer.
And prostate is something that sneaks up on you. You don't know you have it until it's too late.
Right.
And I just happened to have a blood test and they diagnosed it and said, "Whoa, your PSA is so high. We need to look into it some more." And it took 8 months to get it all taken care of.
So from 13 to
So in that respect, and I've also had hernia operations, and they've given me great benefits for my hearing aids.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, I'm seeing them for an appeal on my hearing because I've lost 80% of my hearing on my left ear.
Okay.
For an appeal to see if I can get it disabled.
Right.
I had over 100 jumps, parachute jumps in the military, and 2 of them were bad. One, we landed on a volcanic rock and I broke a leg.
Oh,
Another one where I landed on the barn and broke my back. And these are all different times, of course. And so having chronic back pain all the time, I got 40% disability with the military.
Yeah.
So I'm blessed.
It's a lot.
I'm blessed.
It's a lot.
And 2 years ago, I turned 70 and I retired.
Mm-hmm.
And Nancy and I went to Hawaii on the Princess Star for a 14-day Hawaii trip for our 50th engagement. We got engaged in Hawaii in 1968.
Oh, yeah.
So that was engagement. And everybody on the boat treated us like royalty.
Oh.
It was really a fun thing.
Yeah.
And this year, we're going to, in 2 weeks from now, we're going to be celebrating our 50th wedding anniversary.
Okay.
So the family is throwing a big party for us in Orange County.
Okay.
And so we're going to spend 3 days in a B&B in Newport Beach.
Because that's where you got married.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we're going to do that. And then we got 4 beautiful grandkids, and we can't go wrong, you know.
May I show the YouTube audience a picture from your 50th
engagement
anniversary?
And
this was in Hawaii, you said?
Yeah. That was just outside of Kauai.
Okay.
Yeah, I was taken there. And to show you that we haven't changed much, this is what we looked like 50 years ago.
Yeah.
This is just when I got my flash. And Nancy looked like Shirley Temple, Shirley MacLaine.
Absolutely a beautiful couple. Yeah.
And we have 4 beautiful grandkids, and we're blessed in the sense that we had 25 couples in this experiment.
Oh yeah, the one with the
punch cards.
Uh-huh.
And the professor kept sending us Christmas cards for 10 years.
Oh, really?
And out of the 10 years, there was only 2 couples that were married and still together.
You being one of them.
And we kept in touch until about 20 years ago. And we haven't heard anything. But as far as we know, at that time, it doesn't work for everybody, but it just happened to fall into place for us.
Yeah.
And the real interesting thing is that we are so focused on each other that all I got to do is think about something and she'll get up and, would you like a beer, or would you like some tea, or like that?
She can read your mind?
Oh, and she reads my mind. And we're driving down the road or on a trip, and I said, rest stop. She says, how'd you know?
Oh my God.
The little things about,
Yeah.
We say it before the other. We do a lot of this little pinky stuff. With pull the pinky, we say a lot of at the same time.
Oh, well, I would have loved for your wife to be here, but she's not one to want to be on video and all being recorded. So.
Yeah, she's shying away, but when you get to meet her, she's really something special. And she's a great grandma with the kids. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
She really is.
Yeah.
But it just, like I said, we're blessed. And I think this is interesting. Never heard of a podcast, so you can tell my grandkids know more about technology than I do.
Right.
But it intrigues me.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you taking the time.
Oh yeah.
To share this.
So earlier you were telling me about a telegram or something that she sent to you.
Well, Nancy sent me a telegram. I had told her when we were dating, jokingly, that in Canada, and on Leap Day, the women have a right to ask for a dance or ask to be married.
Like to ask the guy for...
Ask the guy to get married.
Yeah.
And it was tradition. It's an Irish tradition. And so she didn't forget that. And 1968 was leap year. Okay. So on Leap Day, I'm at North Beach surfing all day. And I come back and I'm laying in a hammock, and this bicycle guy on a bicycle with a little bell on it. And he comes into the house and he rings the bell and he says, "Is there a John Pelletier here?"
Yeah.
And I'm on the hammock in the backyard. And I'm over here thinking somebody's bringing me a beer or something. And there's this telegraph. "Honey, remember what you told me about leap year? Will you marry me?"
Oh.
And he's standing there, the guy standing there, and he says, "Do you want to send a reply?"
Oh, so the guy reads it to you.
No, he gives me the telegram, but he's standing there. He's either waiting for a tip or waiting for me to do a reply.
I see.
So for $10, I didn't know at the time that stop was a quarter. You know, every word was a quarter.
Oh.
So I didn't know that, you know. But I had seen a lot of movies, and so I said, "Oh, honey poo, stop. I'd love to. Stop. When can you come to Hawaii? Stop." There must be 5 stops that telegram.
So stop meaning period.
Yeah,
like
means period. So I spent a whole $1 on stop. Anyway, I had to go borrow money to pay for this telegram. I think it was about $8. So she got the telegram, and sure enough, 2 weeks later, she shows up, and we got engaged. And it was great. It was just beautiful. At the time. So we still got the telegram. I got the telegram. I got the book, the memoirs, and I'm a photo buff. I'm an outdoor person, and today I went looking for some of these pictures, and I counted over 26 albums.
Wow!
And we have albums for every excursion. The album from Japan, when we went for a 40th and spent 10 days in Japan, Nancy did a collage, a scrapbook thing.
Yeah.
It's about this thick and this wide, and it has every place and menus and everything else
that
you've been to,
wow.
and me at Mount Fuji and me with the Buddha and all this good stuff.
Yeah.
And it's really quite a. So when people come over and they forgot that we have pictures of their kids, we have more pictures of other people's kids than they have, because of course majority of them are divorced and remarried.
Oh yeah.
I think there's only 2 couples out of all the friends we have that are still married today.
Wow.
Amazing.
Wow. Yeah.
But that's the way it is.
So the matching algorithm for the cards that your teacher did, what was that like? Well,
it was.
Maybe we need to lift one up for people to see.
There's the one with the holes.
Yeah.
The holes basically tell you had four. You had a question with 4 answers, and these are the answers that you put in. The things you love, your interests and stuff like that.
Oh.
And then this is put back into the machine again, and it comes out matching with your spouse.
I see.
It's matching with a person that matches your interests, your abilities. Like she says, she spoke German, I spoke French.
So these were answers of the questions.
Yeah, they all answered the questionnaires, and whatever matched together is on how we got put together.
Wow. So this is what year is this?
1966. Wow. And this was in the back of the classroom, and a little printer, and you go out, you pull out 2, and you take those 2, and there's names on them, and you match those 2, and you match that 2, and then we had to go out 3 times, no matter what. And so we went to tea and pie the first time, we went to a movie the 3rd time, and the 2nd time, and the 3rd time, my mother's birthday on December 14th, was when she first met my parents.
Oh, so she went to your family's house.
That's the first time, and that's the first.
On the 3rd day.
Yeah, it's the first picture we have of each other together.
Okay.
Other than that, we were just kind of freelancing.
Yeah.
And my sister never forgot it, and they fell in love with her right away. My mother was French; she spoke a little bit English, but she just loved it to death.
Yeah.
And so that was it. Was when you look back at the times. It was a very romantic time for us at the time.
Well, you were a fascinating person with all these different.
I was a cheerleader. I got it wrong.
I mean, come on, you're a cheerleader, and I mean, I'm just fascinated by your story. I wish I could we could have 100 episodes just talking about your story. But
I've done so many things in my life that I feel like if I was to go on the other side of the grass tomorrow, I wouldn't have missed a thing,
Yeah, and not many people can say that.
Yeah, I wouldn't miss a thing. I'm just happy with what I got and everything else. I'll deal with what comes along.
Yeah,
and make the most of it. And I'm a free spirit,
right.
free will.
Yeah. So what makes your relationship with Nancy successful? Like, what do you think has been the thing that's
The touching, the hugging, going to bed, playing spoons, sharing each other's, thoughts, things like that.
And you guys can read each other's minds pretty much.
Yeah,
now.
in some respect. And matter of fact, when she was pregnant with Lisa and having Lisa,
Lisa's your first one.
I had so much back pain that I almost fainted when Lisa was born. Because I thought it almost like I was having that baby.
Oh, so you were feeling her pain?
I was. Oh yeah.
Sympathy pain.
Yeah.
I guess they call it.
And I still do. She's hurting.
Wow.
Or something like that. She had a major operation in Colorado.
Yeah.
And it was a 13-hour operation. And I tell you, I felt I was just playing weak.
Wow.
Felt everything. Wow. It's amazing. I think soulmates is what the proper word is.
For you guys, respect. For sure,
And that. And I always kid her because I married her because she looked like Shirley MacLaine. And in all respect. And it's always been like that. And we always laugh and joke. And she's so good as a grandma and with the kids. Yeah. She always has been. And and we have our ups and downs. For example, I would like to live on top of a hill looking down at everybody.
Yeah.
And she wants to live in a condo, downstairs so she doesn't have to take an elevator or walk.
Okay.
And you got those kind of things. Like things. I'm an outdoor bird. I live outdoors. I teach desert survival class. And I sleep with the window open. And she's a homebody.
Yeah.
Oh, what a cook. Yeah. She's a homebody.
She's a great cook.
Oh my God. And cookies and cupcakes and cake. And I'm surprised I only weigh 145.
I was going to say, how come you looked?
Because I'm a taster. She brings me the bowls and I get to taste the pasta. I get to taste the stuff before they're even baked.
Right.
So I only get one piece and the rest gets pushed around.
Okay.
At Christmas time, she does about 40 sets, dozens of fudge and cookies and stuff.
Whoa.
And we make platters together for the neighborhood.
Oh,
and we deliver it at Christmas Eve at all the neighbors and stuff like
That's
that
nice.
Around the neighborhood. And it's become a tradition. We've been doing this for 20 years.
Wow.
And so she starts early. She starts baking early, freezing everything and all that stuff.
Yeah.
She's always in the kitchen, always in the kitchen, and I'm always going, man, that smells good. It's like saying, hey, when can I have that? But, and I tell you, I got to be careful when I tell her if it's missing something. She says, well, you cook it next time. And I made her a promise this year. What do you call when you make a New Year's resolution?
Yeah.
I said, Nancy, I'll make you a promise this year. So I'll tell you what. I'll take you out. I'll cook. I'll cook twice a week.
Have you kept it?
Yeah, I kept that promise. I cook at Applebee's on Monday and Olive Garden on Friday or Longhorn. And she loves it. Hey, when are you cooking again?
Right.
When are you cooking? In that respect,
Yeah.
So I've kept that up. I've kept my. So she enjoys that, and she's a great knitter. She's knitting a little scarf for Natalie right now, and
that's your grandchild, granddaughter. Yeah.
So you can't go wrong in that respect.
Yeah. Well,
again, thank you very much for sharing this.
This is really fun. So I always want to leave my audience with a tip or something. What would you say to couples out there, to keep their marriage going? And I know what you shared about how yours has been successful, but do you have any advice for people?
Yeah, I've lost 80% of my hearing. So Nancy used to be able to talk to me anywhere I was in the house.
Mm-hmm.
And now when she wants to say something to me, she comes up and looks at me and talks to me.
Okay.
So we don't talk through walls anymore. But that's the way it was the first 40 years. The fact is we never talked through walls. We always addressed each other and looked at each other's eyes when we were talking.
When you're talking, okay.
And it wasn't until recently, in about 2-3 years now, the kids are giving us some iPhones that we find ourselves talking to the phone and talking and looking at something on the phone, which is embarrassing because you need to put that technology away and you need to look at each other when you talk. I mean, you can be watching TV and everything. We have a remote and it has a turbo, which means that we don't watch commercials.
Okay.
And if we want to see, if we see something we like or something we want to, we think about, we put it on mute.
Okay.
And then we look at each other and we talk.
And you talk.
And I remember my first years, it was the same way. When we went to eat, there would be no phones like that. We would be hold hands and we'd talk.
Oh.
And about what went on the week and what we're going to do. We had our trials and tribulations, and you learn to deal with them. And sometimes there's spots where it's not easy to deal with because you have two different opinions.
Right.
And one of the things that we have left out of our conversations, and actually three, we left out the politics of it all. We have our opinions, but we don't. But you don't. We don't. Begrudged.
Right.
We left out the religion aspect.
Okay.
I'm a Buddhist today, so that helps out.
Yeah.
Because that leaves everything open to space, and moment. Mm-hmm. So I don't take sides and I don't judge anything. So I don't nothing for me to say.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one is the financial. I think that's one of the biggest things in the upbringing of a relationship is the financial aspect.
Like you don't talk about it?
Well, the first 10 years it was rough because we shared each other's, income to make ends meet. Right. But it came to a point where we didn't have a slush fund for things we wanted, that personally wanted. Uh-huh. So I think it was 10 years we decided that, okay, we're going to pay ourselves first. Whatever we got, whatever check you got, you're going to put 5% of it in a cookie jar.
Okay.
And you're going to put it away somewhere and do what you want with it, whatever down the road, save it, do what you want. Well, those cookie jars have come in so handy in so many years on our excursions, on our trips, upgraded up, and everything else. And it's something we don't know we have. Like I have a cookie jar with probably $3,000, and she's probably got hers about maybe $800.
So she has her own and you have your own.
For those things. She likes to play the lottery.
Sure.
I don't.
Yeah.
So that's her cookie jar.
Oh, okay.
I like specialty cognacs and I like my nightcap.
Yeah.
So high notch cognacs and commercials and stuff. So we don't bicker about it's coming out of our account for the food and all. We don't bicker about that. I have the money to pay for it. For example, my third book's coming out, and Nancy says, "How are you going to pay for this?" And I says, "I've already got it in the cookie jar.
Cookie jar money.
So you don't have to worry about it." She's worried that my excursions is going to cost us.
Right.
But it's not going to cost anything because it's something I put away for.
Yeah, you're saving.
And that has taken the stress. Now, here's the funny part. The first 25 years, she did the checkbook. Now, come March, she doesn't know it yet. Come March 22nd, she's going to get an envelope with the checkbook and the bills in it. She's got the next 25 years. It's yours, baby. You handle it. But it's easy to do the checkbook because all our money now is direct deposit, except our cookie jar stuff.
Oh, right.
That we take out every month.
So you still continue to do that, yeah.
Yeah, and that's really taken a stress off of us because, if she wants to buy her lottery tickets and spend her money that way, it would really tick me off if she took it out of the family account.
The family money,
because it's her hobby.
Yeah.
And I says, so if you don't have money for that, then don't gamble. If I don't have money for my nightcap,
then you don't
buy it. And we can tell we don't have the money because it goes as little spells like, can I borrow something from your cookie jar? No, they don't work that way. We have two different cookie jars, or we have two different places, and there's no dipping.
Right.
So that helps a lot.
Yeah.
And the other, and look at each other when you talk. I mean, there's nothing worse.
That's a big one for me.
Take a look. Yeah, take a look at today when you go out to eat. And look at couples.
Oh, people are on the phone.
They
at the table. Nobody's looking at
each other.
Yeah, because there's
none of that at all. There's no communication.
I'm guilty of that sometimes.
We are too. And when I'm talking to someone and someone is on the phone or picks up the phone, I walk away. I turn around.
Wow.
And hey, I'm not finished. I said, when you finish with that one, we'll talk. And today, it's embarrassing because I volunteer at the Cubbies spring training game for a Hula camp.
Uh-huh.
It's a charity group. They've been around since 1935 in Mesa,
uh-huh.
and we raised like $385,000 last year, and we give to boys clubs and stuff like that, and for charities. And so, even with my hearing aids, I turn around and somebody's talking to me, and in all respect, he's not talking to me; he's talking to his ear, Bluetooth.
Oh yeah.
And with that Bluetooth, it's just like, man, and he's looking at me.
Yeah.
And I'm going. And I'm giving him the score. He doesn't want to know the score. He's talking to somebody else.
Yeah.
So that technology can have a backlash. And I noticed it with my grandkids too. They were a little upset at us last time we went to California. Papa was doing the cooking. We had on steaks on the grill and all.
Yeah.
And Nana was making her favorite pie, and the kids all walking into the kitchen for supper time with all their toys. And I said, "Whoa, back up!" Picked them all up, backed them up in the hallway, and I says, "There's a line right here, and that's a kitchen. That's family time. Go put your toys away."
Cell phone zone.
Papa, I'm expecting to go. Papa, I got to do this. Put your toys away or don't eat.
Yeah, it's only for less than an hour that you're at the table. You can.
I mean, and so, and you know what? Out of respect for us in a way, and we were tickled. The next night, we visited for 3 hours without them looking at their phones and stuff, and laugh and talked about different things.
That's how it should be.
But then I'm sure once we're gone, they're back to, and it becomes a habit in that respect. It really does.
Yeah.
And I find myself playing solitaire when I should be doing something else.
Yeah, no, I do that too.
So I think it's an addiction of some sort that with Facebook just came out with a time check on what you spend.
Oh yeah. So that's depressing.
So I got them to let me know when I'm at an hour of my time of day.
Oh, you can set that up?
Yeah, when I have an hour, it comes up and says your hour is up.
And then you put it down?
I put it down.
Oh, that's
come back at it tomorrow.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
So, and that kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, JJ, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
First of all, thank you for your service.
I appreciate that.
I mean, all that work that you did for the country, it is greatly appreciated. Yeah. And thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for sharing tips for our couples and the single people that listen to the show.
Yeah.
I mean, you are, I'm fascinated by the person that you are.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So and thank you to Nancy for allowing you to share your love story. Yeah. Even though she's not here, but you were able to share your love story with the audience. So
she's here in spirit.
Right, absolutely.
And the only last thing I could say is that don't forget to say to each other, "I love you," when you leave the house or something like that, because with today, so many activities and so many things happening,
right?
That you never know what's going to be tomorrow.
Yeah.
So
that's very true.
That's the thing.
Yeah, so, and don't go to bed mad, maybe.
No, and it doesn't hurt to hold hands. It doesn't hurt to pat each other on the butt.
Yeah.
And and tell each other how good looking you are. Yeah. Even if we get the wrinkles are coming in,
it doesn't matter.
And right now we're at the stage where everybody in our age right now, all they want to talk about is their grandkids and their health issues.
Right.
So we try to stay away from their health issues, but sometimes you can't help it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well. Thank you again. I really appreciate you being here today.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please remember to go to iTunes. You can subscribe, rate, and write a review. And also, you can always find more information about any of the episodes on my website, www.realloverealstories.com. And remember to follow me on social media. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and it's all under Real Love, Real Stories. Till next time.